Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you're tuned in because we've got a very special episode. This is the top 100 games of all time. This time we're doing it for 2018 because we've done it before, but one of my videos got copyright flagged, so you can't even see number 14 to number 1, so you don't even know what's coming. So this time I'm going to do it all in one video, so it's going to be a nice long edition, so you can just watch it at your pleasure. So here we go. Starting at 100. We have WCW vs NWO Nitro on the N64 in 1998. I didn't own this game. It was actually one of my friend's games. I never got round to getting myself an N64. But I've got one now, so I'll fire up some footage for you guys to see how bad I actually am at this game. Because it's been a long time. The reason why I like this game so much is because it had some light customization in there. And it was just a fun play. I used to go around my friend's house just to play this game. But don't tell him secretly. So, moving on quickly, we've got 99, Samurai Warriors 4-2 on Windows 2014. Now, I only played this, I think, last year, and it was awesome. It had so many colours going on, and you could create your warrior as well, which I love in any game. Customization is one of the best things, and you'll see a theme going out the list here. It plays a lot like the Dynasty Warriors series. There's not much really to say about these games, so we're just going to move on quickly. So we got number 98, which is Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance that came out in 2002. Now, this is another game I didn't own at the time. I moved into another house and basically someone gave me this game to play because it was quite a lonely time of my life, and this game supplied me with hours and hours of joy. I like the Djinn and all the different powers. It's a bit like Pokemon in a way, but different. It was his own thing, and it's great. So 97, we've got Mario Party 8 on the Wii that came out in 2007. Now this is a multiplayer game, there's no real story mode to this game if you've not played this game before. It's more like a bunch of mini games but put into a board game. It's a lot of fun, give it a try. So we got a shared 95 position now, and it's the Inazuma 11 and Inazuma 11 2. I played number 2 Firestorm edition. I think there's another edition called Blizzard, but I played the Firestorm edition. Now this is like it's an RPG, but it's a football game, which is strange. But it's all touch controls, and you do like 3-on-3s, big full matches. It's got a wicked storyline. It's a really sort of under the radar RPG, and I'm gonna play number 3 soon. I'm very late catching up, but yeah, if you haven't seen it, have a look. So at 94 we've got Might and Magic Clash of Heroes on PS3 that came out in 2011. Now this was a free game that I got on the PlayStation Plus, but it was one of the good ones when they were handing out good games on PlayStation Plus. It's an RPG, but the battle system, I can't really explain it. It's like column based, but they're monsters. It's very different, but it's very fun, very engaging story. It's not a difficult RPG if you don't like them too hard, sorry. So moving on, 93, we got Star Wars Jedi Power Battles, which is actually called Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles. Now this came out on the PS1 in 2000. Now this is one of the hardest games I've ever played. I've never completed this game, and I tried and tried and tried and tried and tried. And you think, oh, it might be a bit easier two-player, but it's not, because it makes you share the bloody lives. So, and it was the first Star Wars game that I played where you could sort of hit the lasers back at the enemy with your lightsaber, and it felt very good. So in 92, we've got World Cup Italia 90 that came out on the Mega Drive or Genesis in 1990. Now I'm not a massive football game fan. There's been 2 so far, but this was very different. It was like an isometric top-down view, and you could score from the halfway line if you knew how. So it was very challenging playing multiplayer and stuff, which is very fun. Now 91, we got WWE SmackDown vs Raw 2008 that came out on the PS3 in 2007. Now I just mentioned here, I'm only mentioning one system, and that's because that's the system I played the game on. So I'm not leaving anybody out here, I hope. You're going to have to forgive me also with the SmackDown series of games, because I'm just going to mix them all up completely. I can't really remember what, new mechanics came into which games and what have you. But I think this one introduced the weapon wheel, and it also had like an ECW category as well, which was cool. So I'm going to move on quickly from that one. Number 90, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, Windows 2011. Now I know it's got quite high on the list, but there's thousands and thousands of games out there, and none of our lists are going to be the same. So I didn't play this until 2016, and I'm very glad I didn't, because by that time the amount of mods that were on it were ridiculous. Now I didn't plan that, but I had to go. I went and got it and got some mods, and oh my god, like, because I like party-based games, they're kind of my favourite, and to be able to turn that into a party-based game was something different. So at 89, we've got Conquer 2.0 for Windows in 2004. Now Conquer is an MMO. It was the first MMO I ever played, and it was my friend introduced me to it, and it was a new concept at the time, which I fell in love with. You know, you got Taoists and wizards, Taoists and barbarians, and you know, all the other classes that you could pick, and it was just a massive world. And I'm not even sure if this is still going. I haven't got any of my own footage, so I'm going to dig up somebody else's for you so you can see it. It's a good game. So at 88, we've got Grand Theft Auto 2 on the PS1 that came out in 1999. Now, Grand Theft Auto is a mega series for many, many people, but this is the one I spent a long time on as a youngster. So, you know, you shouldn't really be playing these games as a youngster, but I spent loads of time on this. It wasn't really any different from the first game. It had a few updated parts here and there, but it was just a really great play. It had the isometric top-down view again, and yeah, it was just a predecessor to some more great games. So at 87, we got Burnout 2 on the PS2 that came out in 2002. All the twos. Now, this was an arcade-style racer. I played the first game, but it just didn't stick out for me. This game, however, I managed to get 21 burnouts in a row in one of the levels. That's how arcade style this racer is. You can really skid around, and it's really difficult going back and recording the footage for this. Some of the head-on collisions I didn't even see coming. It's a really hard game, so yeah, just get out and have a look. It's a really great game. So 86, we've got Stuntman on the PS2 that also came out in 2002. Now Stuntman is also one of the hardest games I've ever played, up there with Jedi Power Battles, but I did complete this one. It took me and my mate Mike, I don't know, we spent weeks trying to beat this bloody thing. It was the two last levels. Even the first introductory levels are quite challenging as well. If you haven't played the Stuntman series, go ahead. There is another one, but it's not as good as this one. And, you know, once you've completed all the sequences, it would play it out for you, and it looks really cool. There's like a Dukes of Hazzard style, and you know the styles. So at 85, we've got Theme Park on the SNES that came out in 94. Now, this was a major purchase for me. My mum actually bought it for my birthday. It wasn't my purchase, but I remember it costing $59.99. Now that's Great British pounds. That's a lot of money, man. And I still have this same copy of this game. I've just given it to my sister. I've given that system to my sister, and she looks after it because she still plays it. So yeah, she's looking after that. And that was a great game. I'd never played a game where you get to build your own theme park before. Very simple name. Does what it says on the tin, I guess. But yeah, if you haven't played it, go and play it. I'm sure you played a version on another system, but that is the version to play to get sucked in. Had the password system as well, so you had to write those down. Now, 84, we got Train Fever on Windows that came out in 2014. And the reason that I haven't put Transport Fever on there is because I haven't spent that much time on it. I'm just playing so much at the moment that I just haven't managed to put the hours in that I did with this game. It's fantastic. Transport Fever is very good, and it might go on the list in the future. I'll even include some footage for Transport Fever instead of Train Fever because I don't own that one anymore. Yeah, it's a great game. You're basically it's like a train tycoon game, transport tycoon. Got boats and planes in Transport Fever, but Train Fever was where it was at, because what I really enjoyed was all the puzzle solving, because you didn't get things like crossroads, and bridges and tunnels aren't simple. So yeah, it was just a lot of working out. Good fun. 83, we've got Wacky Races on the PS2 that came out in 2000. Now this is a great game. It's a lot like Mario Kart, but the Wacky Racers, you know, Dastardly Dick and Muttley. I'm not going to do an impression. I was just about to, but I'm not. I'll save that. It had the 4-player split screen, you know, all the weapons, and you can only choose 3 weapons with you to go in of that race, and you'd have to power those 3 up. There'll be like flight, a shooting weapon, and a speed boost or something like that. So at 82 we got Red Faction 2, and I played this on Windows and PS2 in 2003. Maybe not in 2003, but that's when it came out. And it was notable for me because it had like a destructible environment. It was the first time second time I'd seen that, because the first time I saw it was in Red Faction, the first game. But it wasn't a great game for me. I did play it all the way through, but this one I played over and over and over again. It was so cool. And you could do the cheats as well once you completed it to get on your infinite ammo, so you could just explore the game in a completely different way. Next up at 81 we've got Roll Cage Stage 2 on the PS1 that came out in 2000. Now this is a very fast racing game, where it's like the toy where you get that car and it flips over and it doesn't matter, it still keeps going. It was those style vehicles, go really fast around some crazy tracks. I think they were all around the galaxy or something like that. And the soundtrack was done by Moving Shadow, which is a drum and bass label over here in the UK. Awesome tunes. At number 80, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 that came out on the PS2 in 2002. 2002 was a great year for the PS2. PS2 is probably one of the greatest systems as well. You'll probably see by this list it's appearing quite a lot actually. And I'm probably going to get confused by these games again, mixing them all up, because I've played them all, but they all had awesome soundtracks, and I'm not sure what each one added, but I think this one added the spine transfer. I'm not sure, and it sort of became open world in Tony Hawk's 4. So we're going to move on to 79 because we've got Tony Hawk's Underground 2, which came out on the PS2, but not till 2004. Now I'm not going to go mega into detail about this one, but you know, they introduced like driving cars and it was pretty crazy. It was just more Tony Hawk's fun. So at 78 we've got Time Crisis 2. Now this came out on the PS2 in 2001. This is what I played it on anyway, and I'm a big fan of the Guncon games. It's a massive shame that we can't invent a technology these days where we can do something like that. The Move and the Wii controls, they just don't feel as natural. These games, when you use the Guncon, it felt like a real aiming, not a real gun, but a real aiming, you know, firearm, and that worked, and it shot where you shot. And you just can't play Time Crisis 2 on a controller or on a keyboard or with a mouse or anything like that. It's just don't work. But yeah, go back to these games on the actual system, and you're going to need a CRT television as well. Just a mission, but yeah, if you can, do, because it's brilliant. So at 77 we've got DC Universe Online. Now I played this on the PS3 and the PS4 in 2011. Actually, I don't think I played it in 2011. I played it a little later on, but it was another MMO, and you know, you can make so many characters if you got a little subscription or whatever. It has got a free-to-play model, but you know, it's got a subscription model as well. And I think I actually just bought some content once, and that upgrades your, you know, subscription or whatever just by spending money once, which was kind of cool. So I made a few more characters on there. You can be bad, you can be good. You can imagine what it's like going to fights with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. It's great. So at 76, we've got Just Cause 3 on the PS4 that came out in 2015. Now, I didn't spend a mega long time on it, but I did enjoy the time that I did spend on it, and it was exactly what I wanted going up from Just Cause 2, you know, with the wingsuit and the mines and extra destructibles. It was great. I'm not going to talk any more about it, because that's it, basically, in a nutshell. So at 75, we got Lego Marvel Superheroes that I played on the PS4 in 2013. Now, it was my first Marvel game from the Lego, which I was anticipating because they'd done everything else and I was just waiting for it. Perfect couch co-op and drop out. That's it, basically. 74, we got Zoo Tycoon 2 on Windows. It came out in 2010. It's a park builder, but, you know, you build the zoo and stuff, and you got all the animals, and you build the... I was going to say encampments then, but... no, you build all the... I don't even know what they're called, but where they keep the animals for you to look at. That's what you build. And you can go underground, stairs. It's great for that sort of thing. So at 73, we've got Tony Hawk's Underground 1 that came out on the PS2 in 2003. Not going to talk about it. Great game. I'm probably going to skip over this one as well, but it's WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 that came out on the PS2 in 2005. Again, moving on to 71, Tony Hawk's American Wasteland that came out on Windows in 2006. Now this one's quite significant actually, because it was the last brilliant one that I played. And I actually played it on Windows, not the PS2. And I was really good. I used to beat people. I used to kick people's asses at this game on graffiti mode. I don't know if I could do it now. I probably still could. You never forget those controls. Never forget you've had like 10 games to inherit those controls into your brain forever. I bet I could do well. So at 70 we've got Tropico 4, which is on Windows, and it came out in 2011. Now this is my favourite because I just spent most time out of them all. I played them all, but this one I spent the most time on. It's an island builder, and you're basically not the greatest leader of this island, and you've just got to basically, you know, change the rules, all the economics. It's very well done, and it's got a good sort of theme, like a dictatorship theme to it. That's what the word I was looking for earlier. So yeah, check it out if you haven't. 69, WWE SmackDown vs Raw 2007, PS2 2006. Moving straight on again. 68, Broken Sword 5, The Serpent's Curse, that came out on Windows in 2013. Now this is very special, because to me it's number 3. Because number 3 and 4 were done in 3D when 3D was going huge, and Broken Sword didn't need to go that way. And so we had 2 shit games, and I had to wait this bloody long until Broken Sword 5. Now this is a bit of a spoiler because you haven't seen the other 2 yet that I've just mentioned, so you know they're coming. But this one, it stayed true to the series. You know, it looked like Broken Sword. George and Nico were just as colourful, and, you know, they looked and acted just like the way they did back in the day. And that was why I loved this game, and I was waiting for it. Bought it out in 2 parts, the money-grabbing cunts. 67. Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition on Windows 2012. Now, I loved Baldur's Gate. I loved the story in it. It took me a while to get round this game. I borrowed this game 3 times off my friend, and twice I just give it back. I don't know what I'm doing. I keep dying. It's well hard. But the 3rd time that I borrowed it, I understood what was going on. And this was probably over the course of about 2 years that I was borrowing this game. But yeah, brilliant game. If you haven't played it, it's the pinnacle of these party-based isometric, you know, dungeon crawling adventures. It's awesome. 66, WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, PS2 2002. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. It's just a fantastic series that I enjoyed, and, you know, I was buying them all the time. 65, Just Cause 2, PS3 2010. So we got Scorpio again. I think he had 2 names in this. People referred to him by both of his names. He was just going around fucking up shit, blowing up shit. It was a brilliant experience. I'd never played anything like it because I didn't do Just Cause 1. So this is where I started, and it's a great game. 64, Sensible Soccer on the Mega Drive in 1992. Now, I didn't own a Mega Drive, but I had a friend who used to lend me his, which was quite cool. And this is one of the games I always used to take because full customization you could have on this game. No boundaries whatsoever. Names, teams, I'm not sure about stadiums, but you could name everything and anything the way you wanted. And I think this one you could score from the halfway line as well. So I liked football games, but only with a twist, I guess. And that just shows in number 63, because we've got FIFA 09 on the DS that came out in 2008. Now, I kind of like FIFA a little bit, but this one's funny because you could make your own chant on it. So whenever you scored, your DS would sing to you whatever you recorded to it. So you could well annoy your friends with it, even though I wasn't that great. But hearing that, and I can hear it in my head. It was a bit extreme to actually repeat to you now. But yeah, you get to have it going every time you scored or you're doing really well. So moving on to 62, we've got NHL 08 that came out on the PS2 in 2007. Now this one I put on there, but I played a lot of them. But this one I distinctly remember for the commentator spitting out names that you'd typed in. So, you know, you could give your characters nicknames that are already there, but some of their names were actually already there. And it was just one of the great games that we'd pick up with a multi-tap, and we'd play every single person on the team. And yeah, it was just a great experience. So 61, we've got Cars 2. It came out on the Wii. It came out on everything, but I played it on the Wii, the PS3 and the PC. And it came out in 2011. I'm only just starting playing it again because I was recording some footage for this video and I just got sucked in again. It's a very slow car racing game. I didn't realise that going back to it, but the fact that you can drive backwards and on two wheels, it had some really cool mechanics that other racers, you know, like Mario Kart and Wacky Races, they didn't have. So that's what makes that game special. 60 Micro Machines on the Mega Drive, 1994. So this is another game that I used to borrow off my friend along with his Mega Drive. I don't know why he used to do that. It's crazy, man. But yeah, everybody's played a version of Micro Machines or whatever. This is the version I played, and it's awesome. You know, you could build your own tracks, and there was loads of different cars. I think there were boats and stuff. So yeah, check it out if you haven't. 59 is a similar game, actually, Mashed, that I played on the Windows and Xbox in 2004. Now this one, I just remember playing a lot of 4-player. I lived with a friend, and he had an Xbox, and we just used to always fire this thing up. So I ended up getting it on my PC in the end. It's a brilliant game. So at 58, we've got Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader. Now this was on the GameCube that came out in 2002. I didn't own this again. I didn't have a lot of money, so, you know, I had to go around people's houses and borrow stuff to be able to play all the games. So my friend had a GameCube. Everyone else had a PlayStation, but he was like, no, I'm getting this thing. And I'm glad he did, because he bought this thing round and it had some awesome games. The first Spider-Man game was awesome for this, but the way that controller felt, playing Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, it just moulded into your hand. It was perfect. The barrel rolls, it just felt very good. So if you haven't tried that Star Wars game, try it. And that's not the only Star Wars game on this list. So we got Lego Batman that came out on PS3 in 2008. Sorry, this is number 57. And this is the first Lego game that I 100%ed all the way through. Now, unfortunately, there weren't any trophies for it back then, but I would have platinumed this game because I got absolutely everything. And it had a good campaign and an evil campaign, and no Lego game has done that since. So that's why that one's very special. 56, Virtua Cop 2, PS2, 2002. Again, that great year, but another Guncon game that you've probably played in the arcade 1,000 times. So I'm going to move on to number 55, which is City Skylines on Windows that came out in 2015. Now, this game is fantastic. It's what SimCity should have been. I know there's some sort of controversy about that game, but this game's just good. Like, I tried to even build my own city. You can do that with a few mods and a bit of help with Google. You can put your own city in there. Now, my city didn't work because we are notorious for having hundreds and hundreds of roundabouts, and in City Skylines, roundabouts do not fucking work. So I had a bit of trouble doing my own town, but there's so many videos online of people doing crazy stuff with their cities, and it's such an awesome game. Try it if you haven't tried it yet. 54, we got Icewind Dale that came out on Windows in 2000. Now, for me, Icewind is better than Baldur's Gate. I know people will probably hate me for saying that, but this one was so much combat. You could make your whole party at the start. You could choose how many people you wanted to take with you. And that, for me, was just giving you full customization. Just made it possible for you to create your own story. What a great achievement that is. And, you know, they've always done great games, these Icewind Dale. I didn't end up playing the Enhanced Edition because, all in all, I wasn't mega impressed with the enhancements that they put into Baldur's Gate. So I'm just going to leave it there with that one. So at 53, we got Lego Star Wars 2 that came out on Windows in 2006. Now, I think Lego Star Wars, the first one, was the first Lego game of this style that I played. But Lego Star Wars 2 had that game and all the original episodes in it as well. So it had like 6 full episodic playthroughs. It was brilliant. And, you know, it had that Jedi Power Battles feel, where you could bat the lasers back at the robots. It was brilliant. And I can't believe it took them so long to create this, but it's awesome. So at 52, we've got PES 2014 that came out on the PS3 in 2013. There's quite a few football games on here for someone who isn't a football fan, but this one was given to me by PlayStation Plus. So I didn't go out and buy this, but I didn't realise that PES had these customization options. I was blown away. So I made me, all of my friends, I had my business logo on like our kits and stuff, and my other business as like a sponsor. It was it was brilliant. That for me is such a good thing in games when you can bring anything from your own life into it, whether it's just be a little sign or your face or your name, whatever, and just make the story your own. That's what games are about for me. So that's why that's on this list. So 51, another Star Wars game, Galactic Battleground Galactic Battleground Saga, that came out on Windows in 2001. Now, it was just Age of Empires skin, a Star Wars skin put onto Age of Empires 2, I think. It was brilliant. It had all the factions, and they later, in the Saga version, they added Count Dooku's Force, basically. So there was even more factions to choose from. They had great storylines, and the maps were cool. And just like Age of Empires, you can make your own scenarios and stuff. So I spent a lot of time doing that. So then, at 50, we've got Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, that came out on the DS in 2008. Now, this isn't the first Fire Emblem game I played, but I was very aware of the mechanics of the game. But I was just proud that it came to the DS, because the first version I played was on the Game Boy Advance, because I didn't have a lot of money, so I bought a couple of Game Boy Advance games when I got my DS, so I had more games, and one of them was the Sacred Stones, which is cool. So yeah, Fire Emblem's a great series. If you don't know about it, it's got such a huge class system. There's so many classes of character, so many ways you can play the game. You got to choose your party before the battle if you end up getting too many people on your team. And it had a brilliant leveling system that was fairly simple, and permadeath, which is very interesting. 49, we got Resident Evil 4, that came out on the Wii in 2007. Now, for a lot of people, this is the best game in the world, so why is it at number 49? Like I said before, there's so many games out there, and I didn't get to play them all, and I'm still going through some backlogs now, and I'm sure everyone's the same, so I'd love to see some other people's top 100s, because I'm sure they'll be completely different. So Resident Evil 4, it was one of the better Resident Evil games for me, because it just introduced a new system, and I played it on the Wii, which introduced a new mechanic with the Move controller, not called the Move controller, I know, the Wiimote, but you could shoot zombies in the head all the time, so it was really cool with that. Had a rubbish escort in part of it, but that's all part of Resident Evil. And for me, it was the last good Resident Evil, because I tried 5 and 6, and I don't know, they just feel like action games. I know Resident Evil 4 is an action game too, not really survival horror, but I don't know, they just took it too far with them ones. And then 7's a first person game, but I can forgive them because it was a good business move for the VR and all that stuff, so I'm sure it's pretty good on that fucking thing that I won't try. So moving on to 48, Red Dead Redemption on the PS3 in 2010. What a great game. The open world cowboy, we'd never had really anything like that, the John Wayne style, whole western open world. The characters, including John Marston himself, was just awesome. I can't believe how good they were and relatable they were. It was just like watching a western, but you got to do stuff. Everyone's played it, so I don't need to talk about it anymore. 47, we got Dynasty Warriors 4 Hyper Edition. It came out for me on Windows in 2005. Now, it was one of the first ones, I think, where you could create your officer, which was, so customization in games was king. And this is just one of those games where I just moved out, and it was one of the very few games I had. I only had a PC at the time, and so I was just playing this game over and over and over and over. I think I still got my copy, actually. 46, we've got Die Hard Trilogy, that came out on the PS1 in 1996. Now, this was a hugely popular game over here. It's not a hidden gem or anything like that. The reason I loved it so much is because it had 3 games in it, and they were all different. So the first game was like some sort of action shooter game, and then the second was a rail shooter, and the third was like a car game that you had to do tasks in with Samuel L. Jackson chatting at you in the passenger seat. 3 completely different games that were well fun. And, it was all in the same package, which was good bang for your buck, let's say. So at 45, we've got Mario Paint on the SNES that came out in 1992. I didn't own this game. I borrowed this one for my SNES that I got for Christmas. Woo! And the reason I played this so much wasn't even for the painting. It was for the musical score thing, because I've always been into music production and stuff like that sort of later on in my life. So this was like one of the Kickstarters. So you could use the Super Nintendo mouse and make music on this basically on a sheet music, blank sheet music track. And you could use all the little mushrooms and the dogs and that. It was funny the way they sounded, but yeah, you could save a couple of them and show your friends. So yeah, it's a cool game. So at 44, we got Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, PS3 2011. And the reason this is here is because I love Drake, and you got to see him in his early forms as well as a kid when he met Sally for the first time. But I didn't like the villains. I thought they were rubbish. I'm British myself, and they were just rubbish British villains. If you haven't played the game, and the reason it's on my top 100 of all time is because it looks fucking awesome, and it's got some great like quick time events and all that stuff. Oh, it's just a great Drake game. If you love the Drake games, then you're gonna have this in your original collection anyway, that they re-released. So at 43, it's another football game. But it's FIFA Road to World Cup 98 that came out on the PS1 in 1997. Now the reason this is on here is because my friend owned it on his PlayStation. I didn't own this one. And L1 was push. It actually had a push button where you could push over someone else. So if you turn the ref all the way down and play a different strategy, it was a lot of fun with friends, and you could wind them up something rotten. So moving on to number 42, we've got Jurassic Park on the SNES that came out in 1993. Now this was an interesting game because it was initially a top-down isometric, adventure game where you're not adventure game, but action sort of game where you're walking around killing dinosaurs. But if you walked into a building, it'd become a first-person shooter, and you could also use the Super Nintendo mouse for this one. I don't know where I got that from. It wasn't mine, but I think I borrowed that too. And yeah, it just had an interesting, twist from isometric to first person to isometric. And it didn't tell you what to do, but you had to collect some eggs, and I never completed that game. So yeah, that's got to be up there with one of the hardest games for me, anyway, with Jedi Power Battles. At 41 now, moving back in time a little bit, we've got Super Tennis on the Master System that came out in 1986. Now the reason this is above a lot of these other games you're thinking, what, really? Is because of the amount of time that I put into this game. When I was that young, my family weren't, mega rich. We didn't have a lot of money. So I got this, and I only had a few games. And this was the one I spent most of the time on. I even played on the hard difficulty with the guys with the red shirts. And I remember one time, my first time, I completed it, and I beat them. And I was so impressed. I wanted to tell my mum because she loves Wimbledon. And I went to press the pause button and run downstairs to tell her, but I hit the reset button instead and went downstairs crying. Funny story about Super Tennis. So number 40 is WWF SmackDown Just Bring It, PS2 2001. Not going to talk about it, they're all great. Number 39 is The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past on the SNES that came out in 1992. Now, I borrowed this off a friend, and I don't think I gave it back because I still have it. Well, my sister still has a copy, and I never bought this. It's awesome. It's one of the better Zeldas for me. When Zelda went to 64, I didn't like them. I watched my friend play through both of those on Ocarina and Mask, but they just didn't feel like this game made me feel. I played the old Game Boy one on the Super Game Boy and enjoyed that a lot, but I didn't like the others. This one, for me, the colours, and it had that map that you could zoom out on. Yeah, it was cool, man. It was the last good Zelda for me. But I've just seen something called Breath of the Wild that looks good, man. I'm going to have to get one of them we use now just to play it. So at 38, we've got Uncharted Golden Abyss. It came out on the PlayStation Vita in 2012. It's up there. It's up there with all of the Uncharted games. As you can see, I rate it better than Uncharted 3, simply because it was a brilliant Drake game, but it had even more different ways to control Drake because of the touchscreen now. You had a few more mechanics thrown in there, and it was such a great playthrough. It's just a shame that, I don't have enough money for the PlayStation TV to play it up on the big screen or something like that, man, because it's so cool. But anyways, we're going to move on to number 37, which is WWF SmackDown 2 Know Your Role on the PlayStation 1 that came out in 2000. Now, this is the first one I bought. I played the first one around my friends, and yeah, I thought, this one I'm going to get. Yeah, there's not much to say about it, so let's just move on. So at 36, we've got Fear Effect that came out on the PlayStation 1 in 1999. Now, if you haven't played this, it's a 4-disc game, so it was a really long game. It had an adult theme. It was really like twisted in some areas, and I think the health system was all based on fear. So if you were getting scared at some point, you were going to die or something like that. And the graphical finish, even though it wasn't an adventure game like Broken Sword, it had the same sort of finish on the graphics. It was just a cool game, man. And I never completed it. I really would like to go back and try that game, because I reckon it will be good again. Because I remember it being really twisted and it having a cool towel scene in it. So 35, we've got WWE SmackDown vs Raw, PS2 2004. Number 34, we've got Athens 2004 that came out on the PS2 in 2004. Now this is the Olympic game for me. It's awesome. It's one of the ones that I will always go back to and play and be good at. No one beat me at this while we were playing it with friends, and I could probably beat them now. Yeah, I reckon I could, because my thumbs just grew such massive muscles from playing this game. Because I used to do the whole Olympics. We used to do the whole Olympics and be the same person all the way through, and I always used to win. I never got beat at that game. Boom. 33. Resident Evil 2, PlayStation 1, 1998. You know why it's here. It's brilliant. It had the A and B mode, the hunk mode, the tofu mode, had the rocket launcher and Ada. It was just a better version of Resident Evil. You weren't locked inside a mansion. Alright, you started off in the police station and stuff. But yeah, it was cool, man. And for me, it was the best Resident Evil game I've ever played. And I can't wait until the remake. Is it out yet? Oh my god, I reckon that's out soon. Oh, this is going to be so cool. Number 32, Endgame, PS2 2002. This is kind of like a hidden gem a little bit, actually, because not a lot of people know about it. What was interesting is once you completed it, you got 2-gun mode, and I was actually good at that. I could hold 2 guns and play them. Not 2-player mode, it had a 2-gun 1-player mode, which was awesome. Had a cool story, it was played a little bit like a TV show, actually, so it was really cool playing that. So at 31, we've got Broken Sword 2, The Smoking Mirror, on the PlayStation 1, 1997. Great sequel. I think it had the GOAT again. But yeah, it was just taking you back to Nico and George Stobart again, with a new mystery to solve. It was cool, man. You know, it starts off, you know, they've been invited somewhere, and it just starts off straight away. Really good adventure game, and you meet some old faces in it along your journeys as well. What a great game. So number 30, we got Borderlands 2, that come out on the PS3 in 2012. I'm sure it came out on a lot more things, but this is what I played it on. Now, I used to play with my friend, and this is one of those games that you could just go and complete over and over and over and over again, like Red Faction 2. It was first-person shooter. I don't play those games, but these ones I played over and over and over again, and I don't know why. They were just so good. I suppose the Borderlands 2, you know, the leveling... You know, the leveling up system where you get the better guns out of the thing, opening it with the keys and stuff. It was just great, and to be able to jump into your friend's game or him jump into your game, that is awesome. So at 29, we got another football game. I think I like football. It's Red Card, PS2 2002. This is a really, really different football game. So it was based on, you know, the FIFA at the time, but they added like super moves and teams made of dolphins and aliens and SWAT teams and stuff like that, and the stadiums are crazy, and you basically had to play through everyone in the world, and it would change the difficulty of the game as you'd get to different parts of the world to adjust for better teams and stuff, as well as them teams being better anyway. So it got really difficult. I never beat the aliens. Never fucking beat those aliens in the end. But someone told me they did, and I was so shocked, but I reckon they were lying, because they were younger than me, man. And yeah, it's just one of those games where it's just based on hardcore fouls. The front cover, I think, is like Vinnie Jones grabbing someone by the bollocks or something like that. It's good. So 28 is Killer Instinct on the SNES in 1995. This one is Blister Thumb. Now, it had so many combos. I remember seeing it for the first time after watching the movie, coming through the arcade, and just being like, what is that game? It was the first beat 'em up where it introduced like the counting of the combo juggling, and you know, you could do this ultra combo. It was good, and it had a full soundtrack that come with the game as well. I lost it eventually, but I'll try and like download the tunes or something like that, because some of them were quite fun. They were cheesy as fuck, but it was just nice to have, and it's such a great game. So at 27, we've got Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, PS4, 2016. Now, it was just a great end to the 5 games that I'd played so far, you know, including Golden Abyss on the Vita. It was just good to see a character finally grow and finish while I'm interested in that series, because it's so easy to just not get interested in characters and stuff when they just take them on forever. But this one finished. It was like the whole story in a set of movies. It was a good finish to the story, you know. It had amazing graphics on the PS4 as well. They really done really well. They done really well with that game. I really enjoyed it. So at 26, we've got Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 on Windows that came out in 2004. Now the reason I put this one on there is because it had the updated 3D graphics, and my favourite thing about the thing was that you could put your own music in each of the rides. So as you'd walk around the park, you'd hear them going off, and it was like being at the fair. It was really cool. That's what we call it over here in the UK. And the scenario builders as well, the world builders. I think people made like Alton Towers and Six Flags and things like that, and there was DLC for like water parks and stuff. It was such a great game. So next up at 25, we've got Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones. It came out on the Game Boy Advance in 2005, and this was my first Fire Emblem game. I'm really disappointed that I didn't play Fire Emblem before this, because going back now it just doesn't look great. I can't even go back to Shadow Dragon because of playing I just started playing Path of Radiance on the GameCube. I didn't even know about that game. Yeah, so playing that game, I can't even go back to playing these games. So yeah, this is a really good Fire Emblem game. If you want to get started into the series, or you've only got a Game Boy Advance, play this one. 24, we've got Tyrion, that came out on DOS in 1995. I think this is one of the only DOS games on this list, but I remember typing Tyrion in all the time, because it was a shoot 'em up, and it had like RPG elements in it. Like you could go to the shops and build, buy different weapons, upgrade those weapons. You know, you had side missiles, rear weapons, build up your generator for your shield, and buy a shield and buy an engine, and buy a ship actually. Yeah, it was so good. I think the original version I played was just a demo version, so I only got to do that first bit, and it wasn't until like the 2000s that I realised that there was the rest of the game to play. So I've had loads of joy playing that game since. It's shareware, I think, so you can get it for free. 23, we've got The Last of Us on the PS3 that came out in 2013. Now this is a really good PS3 game, and it just showed off the power of what the PS3 can do. I remember seeing those giraffes. Anyone remember that shit? That was an amazing scene. I actually called my girlfriend as like, look at this shit. She loves giraffes, so I got to get her interested in computer games for 1 second. It also had like a different kind of zombie. It wasn't a zombie. It was like a mushroom disease kind of thing that was kind of cool, and the clickers, they were so scary. It was like a survival-ish, horror-ish, Nathan Drake-ish, adventure-ish, ish. It was good. So at 22, we've got Clone Hero that came out on Windows in 2017. Now, I only started playing this about 4 weeks ago, and I'm not getting off of it anytime soon. I loved the Guitar Hero games back in the day, but not enough to put them on this list, because I didn't play them enough. I did own the World Tour on the PC with the Xbox guitar back in the day, but this is where it should have been at. You know, where you can easily add songs, you can have all of the old Guitar Hero songs and play those songs. You can make your own songs in this program called Moonscraper that I've been messing around with. It's awesome, and I've seriously put about 70 hours into this thing, and I'm not even leveling up or nothing like that. So you can imagine, I love this game. I even went out and I went into town because I wanted a guitar, and I was like, I'm not paying $60 for, you know, one of these old Explorer guitars. I'm going to find one in a charity shop. So I went around in my local town, and I found a PS2 one in the box without the game, but it's in the box with the strap and the stickers. And I bought that little PS2 to USB converter for like £1.50, And I'm good to go, bruv. 21. Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars, Director's Cut, on the Wii, 2009. Now this one completely overwrote the original Broken Sword on the PlayStation because it was just the definitive version, and it had extra scenes in it as well for Nico at the beginning, and you know, the goat was still there. Everybody knows that goat. It's the best point and click adventure game of all time. Standard. Number 20. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, DS 2007. Now I didn't have a lot of games when I first bought my DS, but this was one of them, the Diamond version. And again, everybody knows about Pokemon, so I don't need to talk too much into it, but it just had great looking graphics on this little thing. It was so updated, it was nice, and I played it for like 200-300 hours, because you know, if you put your little Game Boy Advance cartridges in the bottom and go somewhere in the game, new Pokemon, and that was the bringer, wasn't it? So at 19, we've got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 on the PS2 in 2001. Again, I won't go into too much detail because you know these games, but this one had a great soundtrack. 18, WWE SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, PS2 2003. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but that was the third game, and a lot of fun. 17, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn on the Wii, 2008. I just mentioned that I started playing the Path of Radiance, which is the prequel to this game, so that's going to be awesome. And this game took 76 hours, that was my logged hours, to complete the campaign. And that wasn't including all the restarts because of fucking permadeath. So you can imagine how many hours I put into this thing, just playing it once. I only wanted to play it once because I don't know why. I'm not going to go back and play this game again because of Path of Radiance. And I'm majorly disappointed that there's nothing on the Wii U to play. And only on the 3DS is there a couple of games. And they don't look that great, man. I like these ones. They look good because the Wii Radiant Dawn and Path of Radiance, they look pretty much the same. So playable. 16. The Sims. Windows 2000. When I was playing this, there was pretty much a computer in most people's houses. And if there was a computer, there was The Sims. And all the add-ons and all that stuff. Everybody was playing it. It was so fun. We'd never played a game like this before, and yeah, it was just a great concept. 15. Music. PlayStation 1, 1998. Now, I spoke earlier about being a sort of music enthusiast who likes to make tunes and stuff, so coming to the PlayStation was great. I've lost my bloody memory card, you know, with all of the tracks that I made, but I think I did record one or two. It was similar to Fruity Loops on the PC, but it was for your PlayStation, so you could just whack it in. And I used an audio separator on my PlayStation, so it always sounded really, really good. And that audio separator I used on my PlayStation 1, 2 and 3, such a good bit of kit. So 14, XCOM 2, War of the Chosen, Windows 2017. Now the reason this is the only XCOM on this list is because XCOM 1 I played and loved, but for me it ended too fast. I didn't really understand, you know, the full of the game. So I liked it and I thought, oh, I wish that didn't end. And then I played XCOM 2. And for me, XCOM 2 was just better graphics on XCOM 1. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying that, but it was. It just ended. I was like, oh man, what am I supposed to do? Like, I love my team and now I can't do anything because of this thing. So XCOM 2 War of the Chosen came out. And at that time, XCOM 2 had been out for a while and there was mods available. So the mods and War of the Chosen are the reason that XCOM anything goes on this bloody list. And so high because I actually done a little a playthrough on YouTube that I've never done with a game before XCOM 2. And when Long War of the Chosen is released by those crazy cunts, I'm gonna fucking do another one because I need to play some more of this game. If you don't know what War of the Chosen is, it's basically, it feels like a whole new game. It's what the game should have been. You know, XCOM 2 is very similar to XCOM 1. XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. I can't say any more. So number 13, The Sims 2, Windows 2004. This is just here because I spent, you know, hundreds more hours on it and it was just a bigger and better version of The Sims. That's all I can really say about it. Oh, and also, I think you can put your own songs on the radio. So number 12, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, PS1 2000. Now the reason this one is so high because this is the first one I ever played. and it just brought me into that whole wicked series of Tony Hawk's amazing soundtrack like you wouldn't believe. I wasn't a skateboard enthusiast, and a lot of the people that I played with weren't skateboard enthusiasts, so this game was saying something, man. It had such passion in it. It was fun. They chose the right songs to skate around to, let's just say that. I've got some of those in my collection now, those songs, and I'm never letting them go. Number 11, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, PS2, 2002. I'm probably saying it's the best beat 'em up of all time since it's so high on this list, and I doubt there's any more beyond this. But Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was exactly what I wanted at the time. You know, they'd done number 1, they'd done Marvel superheroes, they'd done Children of the Atom and all this stuff, and I was like, I need it all. I need it all. And they did. They put it all. There was like 56 characters you could choose from right from the get-go. Oh, I don't know about from the get-go, but there was 56 in there, and they were all really cool to use, all from like Darkstalkers. There was just so much in there. And if you haven't played it, play it, because I rate it better than the third one. The third one for me is just, it's too much. I like them. I like the little sprites. I really like the little sprites. And there's this program called Mugen that you can download for free, and you can make your own bloody game. So I'm going to put some footage of that up, of the game that I made. I stopped about 2 years ago because it's so bloody hard, and the videos out there are so old to help you. So I could probably do some new ones of that maybe. I don't know. It's such a mission, but I'll put what I did out there because it's a too big a project to finish on my own, let's just say that. But that's Marvel vs. Capcom 2, best beat 'em up of all time. Top 10. Number 10, Icewind Dale 2, Windows, 2002. This was the pinnacle of the Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, the whole thing. You know, Planescape Torment. This was the best one for me. It was just battle after battle after battle. There was barely any rest, barely any story, but that didn't matter. There was a story, but not much of one, and it had its add-on with the dragon. If you liked Icewind, this was, you know, well accepted. And I remember a couple of times I annoyed myself. I downloaded an illegal version one time, and then I was playing it. I thought, and I swear, and I thought to myself, I swear this was different when I played it. And so I searched online, and there was a patch, a big patch. So I patched it during my playthrough, and all of the items changed in the game, even the ones I was holding. Like, yeah. So that's a funny story about Icewind Dale 2. So number 9, Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition, Windows, 2015. I don't know why I didn't get round to playing this when it first came out, but I just must have been playing other stuff. But this game, oh my god, it's so good. It's got the turn-based, you know, like Fire Emblem. It's one of the only games that I like that, and it's got that whole world exploring. It feels a lot like a nod to the Icewind Dale, Baldur's Gate sort of things. More Baldur's Gate because of the heavy story set in it, but in Original Sin, you could make 2 characters, like, to go off with, and I just thought, yeah, this game's cool. It took me a while to get into it, but once I did, I smashed it to pieces. I think I got all of the achievements on that thing. So at shared number 7 is Castle of the Winds and Castle of the Winds 2 on Windows that come out in 1989 and then 1993. This was the first game of this kind that I'd ever played. It's dungeon crawling RPG. It's based on Windows 3.1 graphics, so everything you see in the game is basically a Windows icon, but that's how the game worked. You can see in the footage, like, it's very basic, but for me, it's the reason why Skyrim exists. It's the reason why, you know, Divinity, Icewind, Baldur's Gate, it's the reason why they exist, and Pillars as well. It's the reason why they exist. It's such a great game. It might not play too well now, but it had random dungeons every time you played. So it's like playing a new game. Back then when you don't have many games like me, and I had this rubbish little IBM computer, that's all I played, man. It was so cool. So moving on to number 6, one of the causes of Castle of the Wind is Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, Windows 2018. Now the reason number 1 is nowhere on this list is because it was good, but I didn't sink any hours into it, really. I completed the story, and I was satisfied, and I was like, yeah, that was a good game. Good nod to the old Baldur's Gate series. Yeah, let's move on. And then this fucking thing came. And, oh my god, you can fucking be a pirate, and you can get on a ship, and you can just sail to islands. You can name islands that you ain't even seen before and no one's seen. This, I didn't even see that coming. I thought it was just, I thought I'd try it because I like the games, and I didn't expect to go on a ship and be the captain of some ship. That took me by surprise, and that's why it's so high. I was like, I'm smashing this to pieces. I played it once, I'm going to play it again. But, oh my god, see, I've only played, that's the only game this high on this list that I've only played once, and I haven't played again yet. And it's so high, it's number 6. Because of the pirate ship, I was not expecting that. Number 5, Music 2000, PlayStation 1, 1999. Now, I told you the reason why I like the other one. This one was just a better version. It had videos that, if you made too complex, it used to crash up your game and take loads of space on a memory card. I had to go out and buy another memory card for this game. You know, one of them page-changing ones, because it was so crazy on the old saves. But, again, you know, with your audio splitter on your cable, it sounded great. Number 4, Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, PS2, 2004. Now, the reason why this one is the best is because, for me, it was so relatable. You know, I'd seen all the movies, you know, like Juice, you know, those sort of movies. I can't even name them now, but yeah, they were good. Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. That's the piss take of all of those movies. But this game was like, it took itself a little bit seriously, but not too seriously. You know, CJ was a great character. He was, you know, the character from those movies. You could easily relate to him and his friends and what they're doing and the reasons why they're doing it. And he'd been gone and he'd come back. So the characters were great. And then it had the vehicles, you know, it had the planes and stuff. Because I think I remember trying to fly the planes in the previous game, but it was more like a glide. This game had planes, proper. And, you know, it had proper actors like Samuel L. Jackson and James Woods, was it? Yeah, they were so cool. This game had me going, and I used to invite people around my house to play this game. You know, we used to take turns, and my friend, my old friend, we're not friends anymore, unfortunately. You know, he used to be addicted to go into the bookies and trying to win. And one time he bet all of my money, and I don't know, I had some multiple number left, because he won on this horse called Jackson's Lad, which was funny to us at the time. You can imagine why. And he won. And I was like, yes, thank you for that. So there's so many different things you could do in that game. So number 3, Spider-Man 2, PS2, 2004. Now this is the game for Spider-Man. I played this for hours and hours and hours and hours. My favourite thing was to jump from the top of the tower and to dive all the way and do the swing at the last minute, or not do the swing at the last minute, however I'm feeling. What a great game with some really cool replayability. I just played it through over and over again because it's such a great game, and it felt good on the PlayStation controller, you know, with the web singing and the wall crawling and stuff. And you can see I'm not very good at it anymore, but things have changed since then. But I'm yet to play the new Spider-Man game because I haven't got enough money. But once I do, it's going to be good. So the top 2 games. Number 2, Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, PS3, 2007. Now, this is one of those games that I walked into the shops and I ignored over and over again. It has, you know, in the UK we have this thing called Platinum. When games go Platinum, they're like 20 quid forever, you know, or 10 quid forever, whatever. And I just looked at it and just ignored it every bloody time. And then finally, I was like, what is this game? Picked it up, looked around, I was like, that looks kind of cool. Put it in. Oh my god. What was I ignoring this whole bloody time? I was like, this is the greatest game I've ever played. You know, that introduction to Nathan Drake, who believes that he's a, you know, descendant of Francis Drake. And, you know, it just opens with that interview on the boat and the pirates. Oh my god, I was like, this is a movie, and a fucking good one. And you get to play it. And it had the train scene in there. Oh, it was so good. that's why it's so high on this list, because I ignored it and then played it for hundreds and hundreds of hours. I completed it on, you know, all 3 difficulties, and this is before I had an internet connection, and then my PlayStation done that weird yellow light of death. So I've got it again, but I'm nowhere near as complete as I was. So yeah, we're going to move on to our number 1 pick. And you probably know by now, it's Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, PS3 2009. Now, it's because I fell in love with Nathan Drake from the first game. And Uncharted 2 is, apart from Grand Theft Auto 5, which was a mistake, the only game I have pre-ordered. Get that. I've only pre-ordered 2 games. And that's Uncharted 2 and Grand Theft Auto 5, which I regret and I sold back to the shop. But this, I kept. I got the steel box and all that stuff. It was the first time I got any of that stuff. So that was really, really cool. And I was just so impressed. That opening scene with him hanging off the fucking train. Jesus Christ, it grips you in from the very start and it don't let go. And it's Nathan Drake, and there's more people in this one. You know, you got Chloe and what's his bloody name? The English dude. I can't even remember. But it's such a great piece. And I want to go back and I want to play them again, but I don't actually own them because I had to sell my PS3 to get my PS4. You see, money's fucking tight where I am, so I have to like sell things to get things, and that's why I don't own any of these games anymore. So in a few of these vids, you see a lot of the emulation where I've just had to emulate it quickly because I don't own that anymore, man. I had to sell it to get another one. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it goes. But I'm pleased to say that nowadays I've got my Vita, I've got my DS, a PS4 and a PC, and I'm very, very happy with those things. I've got very few games, but the ones I play I love. So that has been my 100 top picks. I should have really given you some honourable mentions because I do have some. I'm going to do that now actually. So we're going to do the honourable mentions right now, afterwards. So we got GoldenEye, N64, Playboy the Mansion, Windows, Jungle Strike, Mega Drive, Two Crew Dudes, Mega Drive, Star Wars X-Wing on DOS, Diddy Kong Racing, N64, Tetris, Game Boy, Total Carnage, SNES, Command & Conquer Red Alert Retaliation on the PlayStation 1, James Pond Robocod on the Mega Drive, The Sims 4 on Windows, Savage Moon on PS3, Dead to Rights PS2, Saints Row the Third PS3, Infamous PS3, Dead to Rights Retribution PS3, Mad World Wii, Ninja Reflex DS and Wii, Mortal Kombat 2 Mega Drive, Call of Duty Modern Warfare PS3, and Lost Horizon on Windows. There are some of my honourable mentions. So I'm glad you enjoyed the video, and I hope I haven't disappointed anybody by not mentioning their favourite game. But this is my list, and you know, I've said I couldn't afford all the games, so the best game in the world might be out there and I missed it because I couldn't afford it or I didn't know about it or something like that. And, you know, again, I'd like to see everyone else's because I'm sure they're going to be completely different. There's someone out there with every game in the world that has a list of their top 100. I'd like to see that. That would be cool. I'd like to see if any of my games compare when it's compared to all the games in the world. That'd be interesting to see. Anyways, I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you for watching if you have watched this far. I'll see you again soon.